He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.
Well, how you doing, America? And welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, we talk about the pursuit of happiness, and we show the world that, yes, us Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day, good week, wherever you are located and listening to the platform. That's Apple, Google, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, Amazon Music, and all the other platforms that we are on. You can find all them platforms at anchor.fm. Just type in the Cajun Conservative Show. You find us on the web, the Cajun Conservative Show.wordpress.com. You can find all our links, all our platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and on social media. That is including TikTok as well. Which we don't know. I don't know how long. It's funny. I get on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, and the government saying it's not a good idea to have TikTok in America all of a sudden. I think it was Marco Rubio or something like that. I don't have that in the story. I'm just, it's ironic, ladies and gentlemen. The Cajun Conservative gets on TikTok and he starts making videos exposing the left and, yes, exposing the right as well. And all of a sudden, Marco Rubio, I don't think I'm that important. Don't get me wrong. I'm just making a joke, but it's just ironic. I get on TikTok and I'm starting to get a good following on TikTok, and I'm starting to finally see what TikTok's about, and the government says, now look, if it is a security issue, don't get me wrong, we should get rid of it. I'm not against that. I'm just, it makes me think, makes me think. It was the same way with Rush Limbaugh and some other hosts, they would do something, and then all of a sudden, comparison. Like I said, I'm not that influenceable. I guess that's the word you could say. But remember Rush. Rush finally went on Twitter. I remember that. Rush went on Twitter. I had my personal Twitter account. I was like, oh boy, Rush is on Twitter now. I'm going to go ahead and follow him. And Twitter did something with censorship, and Rush was like, nah, I don't need it. And he got off of Twitter, and I was like, well, that's a bummer. And I'm just, I get on TikTok all of a sudden now. TikTok is the worst thing in the world. We did have a man say this a few years ago. Let's just say it. Donald Trump did do this in the left and even some on the right. Oh my goodness, TikTok! Oh, come on, Trump. You're too worried about just social media. China. You remember that? And guess what? Now we're starting to see that it might be a danger. Now people might ask me, well, Isaac, what about you? You're on TikTok. I got my Cajun Conservative stuff. I did not put no personal information on there, and I understand. This what gets me. The government's worried about China looking in, but you had the Patriot Act that Trump signed, and the government can look in at any time. So that, to me, that's the pot calling the kettle black. I'm just being honest with you. You have this whole stuff with TikTok, and they're worried about China pulling in sensitive information, but our government has the access to do the same thing, and that's a whole conspiracy theory type thing, whatever. And I don't try to get into the weeds too much with that. I just, my conspiracy theory is this: I think they're trying to keep me off of TikTok. Now, all you fact checkers out there, I'm playing. Like I said, I don't think I have enough. I'm not that much. I don't think I can influence people like that. I'm just a small town boy that loves America and that loves voicing his opinion out there, and that's why I do this. That's why I use TikTok, and I've got some response. I'm excited for TikTok, but let's say it like this: if they would take it away, let's just by some coincidence, the Democrats and the Republicans work together. Because the last time they worked together, this wasn't. We're going to talk about that at the wall, but the last time they worked together wasn't really a good thing for America. But just so happened, America, they would work together, the Democrats and the Republicans, to ban TikTok from the United States of America. I would not lose sleep. Now, there is some people out there. There is some people, and I watch TikToks every so often, and there is some people out there that this is their livelihood. This is how they make money. They make money off of TikTok. They make money off of this is their livelihoods, and some of their livelihoods will be taken away. Now, these are influencers. They probably can go to Facebook Reels, or now the new Snapchat stories. I thought about doing that too, ladies and gentlemen. I thought about making a public Snapchat. I'm looking into all this stuff. But anyway, I'm chasing rabbits. I'm just saying, I would not lose sleep if the American government come out and say, hey, we're banning TikTok. No American citizen can use it. No American can update it, whatever. I would not be upset about it. I wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, TikTok's gone. No, I wouldn't do that. I would go about my normal business. I will go about my normal day, whatever. So anyway, let's start talking. I've been talking over for 6 minutes about TikTok and this rambling a little bit because I guess what I'm about to talk about is really a poor subject for America. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is showing how far America has slipped in morality. This shows how much America has forsaken the Bible and God. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to realize the more I read this book, and if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can see I'm holding up a black book, and this is the Bible. And the more I read this book, the more and more I realize that I'm glad I don't label myself as a Republican or a Democrat. I am registered Republican, but especially things that I'm about to talk about, I am getting more and more closer to going to my local voter's office or going to the Go Vote app for Louisiana and register no party. Well, Isaac, how are you going to vote for the primaries? How are you going to vote for that? Look, I'm not. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, the more I read this book, I'm starting to realize that the Democrat Party and the Republican Party don't align to this book. Unfortunately, almost all of them are God haters. The majority of the Democrat Party is atheists. And you have Republicans that say, well, we're Christians, but they don't live according to this book. They don't live according to the gospel. They don't live according to what Jesus told us to do or what the apostles, which were led by the Holy Spirit, tells us to do. And that is one reason why I'm not aligned. I said this a couple of weeks ago on a podcast. I'm not aligned with the Democrat Party. I'm not aligned with the Republican Party. I'm aligned with truth. I want to stand up for truth. And the only truth I would have is the gospel of Jesus Christ and what's in this book. On this note, President Joe Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act Tuesday in a bizarre ceremony attended by Washington elites, activist musicians, and drag queens. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap around this subject for a second. This whole Respect for Marriage Act, which I was totally against, and I have my spiritual reasons, and I also have my constitutional reasons. You know it. I have expressed myself on this piece of legislation, the Respect for Marriage Act. The whole concept or the grassroots logic for the Respect for Marriage Act is that this was to make sure that states recognize marriages from other states. Louisiana, under the 2015 Supreme Court decision, when it legalized all same-sex marriages, and it was to the point where you had to do it. This codified that it was, look, if you get married in another state and your state outlawed it, you cannot tell them they were not married, as previously for 2015. So, and this also repealed the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act, which was signed by Bill Clinton in 1996. It was signed because it said that marriage was between a man and a woman. This piece of legislation says that marriage can be between two people. And that is if it's a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. That just codifies to say, look, they have the rights to marriage, and they're protected under the law. That is the ground roots of it, ladies and gentlemen. I agree with it? No, I do not agree with it, because, like I said, this book that I read says that marriage is between one man and one woman. In the beginning, God created Adam and Eve. And through this book, it is clear. I don't care what progressive preacher you're listening to. I am working on something. I'm planning on possibly doing a video on Brothers Just Searching, where it's just me talking about progressive Christianity, how it is hurting this nation. But this law on top of it, you like, well, Isaac, why are you worried about this? Why not give them equal rights? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the whole thing. Like this bizarre ceremony that was held at the White House. It had LGBTQ activists and drag queens. And, ladies and gentlemen, the president said today's a good day. He proclaimed while signing at the signing ceremony, a day America takes a vital step towards equality, towards liberty, and towards justice, not just for some, but for everyone, towards creating a nation, the deceased, dignity and love and recognize, honor, and protect it. So the president's saying that, listen to how he said this. This is a vital step towards equality. First off, ladies and gentlemen, we're all not equal. I'm sorry. We might have equal rights, we might have equal standings or whatever, but none of us are not equal. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot more people that are using financial wise are a lot better financially than me. I will never get to the step I say Bill Gates of being a multi-billionaire. If it happens, thank God, I'm happy for it. But Bill Gates' life of equality me and Bill Gates will never be equal. Never whatsoever. Now, Bill Gates might say he wants us all to be equal, but that's not going to happen. Equality is just not going to poof, everybody's equal. When you start leaning towards that mindset of everybody being equal, you get to a socialistic mindset. That's how communists work. Communist countries work. Hey, we're going to make everybody poor. You're either going to be super rich or super poor. There's no middle class. So we have some people equal, some people not equal. And even that point, you're not even quoting to equality. You still have a social differences in that society. But this is what this whole bill is about, equality. Because, ladies and gentlemen, why have a ceremony where it's respect the marriage act, where it's talking about marriage between man and woman, or woman and man, and have drag queens and transgender people all present? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about marriage. It's about propaganda. I'm being blunt with you, because I'm reading this, how you had the non-binary drag artists invited to the White House. So this is a quote from drag queen Marta Cummings that was invited to the White House. To be a non-binary drag artist invited to the White House is something I never imagined would happen. Thank you, President and Dr. Biden, for inviting me to this historical bill signing. Grateful doesn't begin to express the emotions I feel. This is a drag queen. This is a man dressed up like a woman and going in front of kids. Ladies and gentlemen, this is propagandizing transgenderism and drag queen and things of that nature. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to push that agenda on people. First off, I believe, and I said this last time I was with you, this is against a manhood. Let me just say that mentality, masculinity. That's how I'm looking for the word, masculinity. This is an attack on masculinity. Why all these drag queens are coming out, and why are they pushing drag queens upon little boys or little children? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's against masculinity. You can be a man but be feminine. It's the same thing with transgenderism. I have a story. Let me go ahead and get to it, of a retired Navy SEAL made famous by becoming trans. Revealed he is detransitioning, and that it destroyed his life. This is from the Daily Wire. A retired U.S. Navy SEAL who became famous a decade for becoming transgender said in recent interviews that he is detransitioning because it ruined his life. This is Chris Beck, who became Kristen Beck, and now returned to his original name, served in the SEAL team for 2 decades, and virtual theaters of combat, including Afghanistan and Iraq, and was awarded 29 medals for his service. Beck gained national attention after a 2013 interview with CNN when he announced that he was transgender. He now warns that everything you see on CNN with my face, do not believe a word of it. So what he was saying is that he was confused. He was if you read the story, he was confused. He didn't know what was going on. He went to a psychologist, and the psychologist said, "Oh, you're transgender," and started pumping hormone pills to him. And ladies and gentlemen, this man that turned himself into a woman, that was trying to turn himself back into a man, he has to stop taking his hormone pills and all this stuff, saying this ruined his life. For the last 10 years, it's been a struggle, he says in the article. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what they're pushing with this legislation. And look, I understand the religious rights. I've argued that, but seeing President Biden invite drag queens and non-binaries and other people of the LGBTQ community, this whole bill was not about marriage. I don't care what Mitt Romney says. I don't care what Nancy Pelosi says. This was not about marriage. This was about propagandizing transgenderism and trying to make people under the impression that this is normal when it is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. Being transgender is not normal. It is is abnormal. Because this is the point I want to bring. Why didn't the founding fathers define marriage in the Constitution? I don't think they ever thought this would happen. Our founding fathers are probably rolling over in their graves because they never thought in a million years that this would happen. I want to quote Nancy Pelosi on some if I can find her quote. Oh, let's see. Oh, wrong one. That's what that is. Oh. Yeah, let's quote Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy Pelosi made a statement about this bill, this legislation that is passed. This legislation is the latest step in House Democrats' fight to win full equality for LGBTQ Americans and forge a more perfect union that our children and their children, all of our children, deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what this was about. It was about pushing equality for the LGBTQ community. This was not about marriage. This wasn't about unions of holy matrimony. This was propaganda to go ahead and make it exist that, hey, there's more than one gender. There's more more than two genders. There is that this is all normal, and it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, as we heard from the former Navy SEAL that is detransitioning, this ruined his life. And he made a quote on there that, you know, if a girl goes to a psychologist and says, hey, I'm a town boy, they start pumping them up with drugs to turn them into a so-called boy because they believe they're transgender. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ruining our society. This is ruining our mental capacity of this country. And this is just, look, this is hurting our nation more ways than one. And it's sad that our country has embraced this type of lifestyle. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is because of our lack of knowledge of God. Plain and simple. With that being said, we'll be right back after this short break. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here, and I am with Phil Kennedy. He is the artist of the Center of the Door album that I have in my hand right here. And Phil, thank you for coming by, and just wanted to ask you a little bit about your album. And does this tell me a little bit of information what led you to make this album?
Thank you, Brother Isaac. I am a songwriter mostly, and firstly, I'm a preacher of the gospel. So the Lord has always blessed me, it seems, with a song, with a sermon for the song. And that seems to be how it started when I first started preaching. So, you know, before you know it, you've written way more songs than you have sermons. And I just like to get a little group of them together now and then. It's the songs I've been singing as I travel to Mexico and this place and that, and preach Oklahoma or wherever else the Lord takes me. And I sing those songs. So I put a little CD together. Hey,
look, I'm going to be honest. It's a great album. Look, even my friend Scott Ford, I sent him a digital copy of it, and he loved it. He said he loved the album. He loved the way you sing, and it's a real big blessing. It's a good blessing for us, man.
Thank you so much. And I know that it's available in the digital world. It's available with me physically. If you just message me or try to friend me on Evangelist Phil Kennedy Facebook, and the other information I'm sure you can give them.
Right. Well, we know for sure it's on Apple Music and it's on Spotify, where you can find the Cajun Conservative and Brothers. Just searching. Go ahead and look it up after you listen to our podcast. Go listen to a little bit of Phil Kennedy's album, Center of the Door. You'll be blessed. I promise you.
Cleansed and made us whole. Not one hoof, not one soul.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show for today. Let's go back to something. I want to show you a video, and this is pure propaganda at its finest. I'm talking about transgenderism and talking about, all this stuff. I want to know who the experts are. Let's say it like this. Because talking about this, how this is propaganda, how the president has signed this bill, and we use the example of a former Navy SEAL, Chris Beck, saying, look, this ruined my life. Quotes, this destroyed my life. He talked about how he was brainwashed and how psychologists said, hey, you're having trouble where you like this certain thing that a girl, how can I say this? In normal terms, a girl would like, you becoming transgender. And it's funny how, especially kids, I'm just, because they're giving these hormone pills and these 13-year-olds and all this stuff that can hurt their bodies, that can hurt them. But because, they like, a girl likes baseball, or a girl likes playing sports, and it's normal sports that a boy would like. Oh my goodness, this is a town boy. That means that that this girl is really a boy. So we need to help get him out of that. No, look, I'm gonna use for example, my little sister was a town boy. Me and my little sister played softball for almost 5 years together, co-ed softball, and sports. Things that boys like, my little sister like. Your little sister must be transgender. No, that's not how it works. She was just interested. Look, there are some guys, I don't understand it, but there is some guys that like doing, girly stuff. Does that make them, they're really a girl? No, it does not. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what's being pushed. And with this equal respect for marriage act, that's what it's pushing. Hey, it's normal to be that way. If you're a girl and you feel like if you're a biological girl and you feel like you should have been a boy, well, that is normal, and it's not normal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not, especially a 13-year-old. Okay, I use this example, and I'm about to show the video because this teacher went on to TikTok, and this came from Lives with TikTok, talking about how her and other teachers are experts, and us parents that teach our kids biblical truths and the right way of biology. That we're not experts and nobody should listen to them. That's basically what I get from this video. But we're about to show that. But it's kind of funny. They want to encourage kids at the age of 13 years old to transgender what gender they are. If it's a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and they feel like if it's a boy that wants to be a girl or a girl that wants to be a boy, we should listen to them. We should listen to them. That man, we can't deny their feelings. They know what they want. But the same people that are saying that believe that we should put a age limit on firearm purchases because man, somebody under 21, they really don't know what a gun is. They don't have the mental capability of buying a firearm and understanding about it. So you're telling me that a kid at the age of 13 has the mental capability of deciding they want to be a boy or a girl, but don't have the mental capability of buying a firearm under 21? Is that But anyway, let's watch this video because this really disturbed me when I watched it and I saw it, because this woman right here is basically saying, parents, you're not experts. You leave it up to us and you let us teach your kids. Just see this right here for a second. Well, if you're watching on TikTok, but listen if you're on the audio platform.
I have a thought. Now, I know the trolls are going to be like, uh-oh, she should have stopped there. But I'm not going to do that. So there's a lot of controversy about whether or not sex education, health education, relationships, gender, all that stuff should be taught in the classroom. Here's what I think. You as in parents, send their kids to school to learn math, reading, writing, history, science from a professional, right? But in the same token, a lot of people who do that also think that they're experts in sexuality education because they've had kids. With all due respect, just because you had kids does not mean that you are a sexuality education expert. It does not mean you are an expert in sex. It does not mean you are an expert in the body. It does not mean you are an expert in gender. It does not mean you are an expert in relationships. So the same way that we're sending our kids to school to learn these skills, these life skills like math and quadratic equations and calculus and whatever else from a professional, we also need to be ensuring that our students are learning information about their health, about identity, about very complex issues from a professional. I mean, like, it makes sense. It makes sense.
No, it don't. It don't make sense. So this woman is saying right here, basically, that, look, hey, you know, as we send our schools to math, writing, and science, and everything, you should listen to a professional like this woman that probably don't have a PhD in biology. I'm just assuming, okay? But she's telling us to bring our kids to her. And she's going to show them about identity and equality and all this. No, ladies and gentlemen, that isn't in the school. You should not tell your kids or the kids that go to school, hey, you think you're a boy, you should be a girl. That is not professionalism. That's not for a teacher, at least. Now, look, I know a lot of teachers. There are a lot of teachers that love their kids. They teach them right. Look, I sent my kids to the longest time to a private school because I wanted them to be educated in the Bible and be educated in things that were right. But ladies and gentlemen, this woman's saying that professionals, hey, talking about professionals showing their kids about equality and showing about identity and all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at science, there's an XY and an XX, I believe, in biology. That shows that there's two chromosomes, and that is male and female. Ladies and gentlemen, that we should not be worried about bringing our kids to school and being taught propaganda. And that's what this lady is talking about. Oh, you're sending them to a professional. You should trust the professionals. You're not a professional because you had kids. I probably have more common sense than this woman than a bag of donuts. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here, this is wrap up my first segment thoughts. This is what it's about. This is what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. Propagandizing our kids to believe what's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. And unfortunately, there's teachers like this that are hurting our nation. And look, I can read you the tweet from Lives on TikTok. Middle school teacher mocks parents who want to say in lessons about gender, sexuality, and sex ed, says parents should trust teachers because they're experts and parents aren't. So, and that's from Lives on TikTok. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is not an expert in sexuality. This woman is not an expert on anything. 9 out of 10, she's reading a textbook to get the answers. And look, you can see she's part of the LGBTQ community. But now, this is what I would say, though. Let a Christian go in there and say, hey, you know the reason why we're having problems in this nation is because of our lack of God and our lack of, or sometimes let a teacher start going in there and say, hey, God, you know what? Talking about math, arithmetic, and science and language and all this stuff. I'm going to start teaching the Bible because I'm an expert in the Bible. And I think CNN and everybody would show this clip because, separation of church and state. Why is it okay to push gender ideology in school. Well, that's science. No, it's not science. That's bull crap, in my humble opinion. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and work through a few things. So, Louisiana voters approved statewide ban on foreigners voting. That's how Breitbart said it. Now, this was an amendment. We have runoff elections, or we have two elections each cycles. We have a runoff election in December and a general election in November. And most of the time, when you put bills on the runoff election, that is stuff that they don't want to pass, or that's some they want to pass and then get their followers out there or whatnot. Louisiana politics is weird, and you have to strategize on everything that Louisiana does. But there was a couple of amendments that was on this last bill, and I voted for this, by the way. But it was amendments saying that non-citizens could not vote in the state of Louisiana. Now, this is the whole thing I was thinking about. Why is that even on the ballot? It's sad that it has to be on the ballot, but a lot of things that are going on in our voting system where non-citizens can vote. There is states, however, that non-citizens can vote. You don't have to be a citizen of the United States, but you can make decisions on this country. And I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. If you're not a citizen of this country, you should not have the privilege of voting. That is done by a citizen of this great country. And Louisiana, if you live in the state of Louisiana, you're a non-citizen of the country, guess what? You cannot vote in the state of Louisiana. That passed this week, ladies and gentlemen, and that is a good thing. But why ain't this being pushed all over the country? Think about it. Why isn't this being pushed all over the country that Louisiana vote that non-citizens of the country of the United States of America can't vote? Let me put a challenge. If you're part of the left, go to Mexico in their election cycle and go to the polls and say, I want to vote in this election. They will tell you, oh, hell no. Yeah, but I want to vote for the president of Mexico. Nope, you got to be citizen. That's what they would tell you. Why is it okay, though, for a Mexican that is not legal in the United States of America come to one of these states and say, I want to vote for the president of the United States? And they're like, yes, sir. Voting booth right there. Remember to vote Democrat. Why is it okay for that? It's not. It's not. It's not. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to go do some research, but I think the Constitution says that non-citizens can't vote anyway. And if that's the case, these states are breaking the U.S. Constitution, but we learned over the last 2 years that it don't matter what the Constitution says, apparently. So, all right. So let's start talking. I want to bring up the January 6th committee. The United States House of Representatives have gone to the Republican Party. The last count that we seen was 222 to 213, I think it is. So it is a very thin majority. Remember, I even predicted I thought we would have a red wave. The red wave turned into a red sprinkle. Well, a pink sprinkle. It wasn't a monsoon. It wasn't a storm. It was a pink drizzle. This red wave did not produce anything. But but the victory here is that the Republicans did win the House of Representatives by a thin majority, but they have won. What is that news to the Democrat Party? One of the bad news to the Democrat Party is meaning that this January 6th committee, 9 out of 10 will be done in January of 2023. And that this January 6th committee that has been months doing primetime videos trying to convince you, the American citizen, that Donald Trump, this was all the January 6th committee was about, that Donald Trump caused January 6th. It wasn't to find out the truth. It wasn't to find this whole committee was a sham. And this committee, its time is dwindling down. But according to Adam Schiff, it's not done yet. See, ladies and gentlemen, before January, when the new Congress takes their place in Washington, the January 6th committee has to do something. And according to Adam Schiff, that around the 20th or the 21st of December, which is next week, the Democrat this Democrat Party led, and I'm going to call it what it is, Democrat Party, because you might say, well, Isaac, what about Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger? Well, those two are Democrats. I have labeled them Democrats. They have a big D on it. When I see their name, I don't see R, I see D. But the January 6th committee will release certain papers or their report on what happens. Now, this is the quote. This is the quote from Adam Schiff. We're all certainly in agreement that there is evidence of criminality here, and we want to make sure that the Justice Department is aware of that, he said. Now, I do not doubt that they will be making referrals to... Oh, let me see if that's... No, that's not him. Let's see. Let's see. He said something else. Yeah. Well, that is one of his quotes. Well, we are certainly all in agreement that there is evidence of criminality here, and we want to make sure that the Justice Department is aware of that, he said. I believe this is it. Let's see if it's... No, that's not it. I don't want to... I'm going to say this is in the article. Now, I do not doubt that they will be making referrals to the Department of Justice for people and probably President Donald Trump, but that doesn't mean that he have any evidence of criminality. Okay, then that's the writer. Okay, but anyway, Adam Schiff says there is certainly evidence of criminality against Donald Trump and people at the from the Capitol 6 riot. He also says that they want to make sure that the Justice Department is aware of that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm saying this is an attack on Donald Trump. Because, ladies and gentlemen, first off, they have to have something against Donald Trump to run on in 2024. That is, Donald Trump is running for president. He has announced his candidacy. He has announced what he's planning on doing. So now they need something to attack him on, and this is going to be the biggest thing in January 6th, which, on a side note, Ron DeSantis, there was a Washington Post poll that showed Ron DeSantis leading Donald Trump for the 2024 nomination. That is a poll that does not have, like I said, it's just a poll. My faith in polls are slim to none. But if that had the whole water, these Democrats should be more worried about Ron DeSantis, not Donald Trump. But anyway... this is from Red State. It says the January 6th committee is finally on the crabs of releasing a multi-hype report on the unrest that took place at the Capitol building following 2020 elections. Or is it? I mean, yes, they're going to be a report and a separate release of criminal referrals, but if the first leaked detail of what it actually contains are any indication, it is actually going to be about the unrest at the Capitol building at all. It isn't actually going to be about the unrest at the Capitol building at all. Rather, it's going to be just one big continuation of the committee's obsession with Donald Trump, who was never, ever president. They pulled this source from Politico, which I have the article. Politico talks about what the January 6th committee final report will look like. There's 8 chapters in it. The big lies, state, local government pressure, false electric, erupt at the effects to corrupt the DOJ, Pence pressure campaign, summarizing mob, 187 minutes of inactive, analyzing of the Capitol attack. That's the 8 chapters that are going to be in this report that's coming up later this month. And we're probably going to talk about that later on. But ladies and gentlemen, this whole report, this leaked report, according to Red State, is nothing more than a referendum against Donald Trump. And we've been knowing this, ladies and gentlemen. I have been saying this for months now, that this January 6th committee isn't a committee to find out the truth. If it was, they would have let Jim Banks and Jim Jordan on the committee. They would have let some people that could have asked hard questions, but they didn't want that. And ladies and gentlemen, they want fuel against Donald Trump. And this January 6th committee, they're going to release their report next week. And they're rushing. They are rushing because they know that their time is up. And what they want to do is they want to try to get it to the Justice Department, because if they get it to the Justice Department, the Justice Department can take it and file charges against the former president, Donald J. Trump, which would be a first in American history if it would happen, that a president would be criminalized for something he done in office. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to finish my thoughts on this, I've said this all along. All this was an attack on Donald J. Trump. This is, and a lot of people are starting to agree with me on this. They are trying to find a reason to stop Donald Trump from running in 2 years. Because they're scared of him, because they believe, even with this poll that shows Ron DeSantis ahead, the Democrats are still scared that this man is going to win. And he lives rent-free in their brains. And this whole thing about, they're going to release this, and Adam Schiff, this is the guy that said he had Russian collusion proof, which he didn't, now saying he has evidence for this. Then they might have evidence, but it's evidence that is made up, and this is the whole thing about this. Isn't Donald Trump innocent until proven guilty? These people can make a referral, but these people are not the law. Donald Trump still needs to go in front of a jury of his peers. But according to these people, these individuals that are on the January 6th committee, he is guilty, he is guilty, he is guilty. Why? Because we say he is. No matter what our Constitution says or our way of life says, he's guilty. With that being said, we're going to be right back after this short break.
Cheers and good on you, boys and girls. My name is Scott Ford, and I have a show on Rumble. It's the Scott Ford Show, all in one word, the Scott Ford Show, and it's on Rumble. And I also have a motivational success show on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell. That would mean a lot to me. Enjoy your life. Thank you, Isaac. God bless.
You're my peace of mind when this old world seems to get me down.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to the third and final segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. When you find something during the break that interrupts your flow. Now, I'm doing this. I never do this in the middle of the day. This is rare. You know, we have some bad weather here in Louisiana at the time of this recording, and unfortunately, you can't deliver wet mud because we have mud stuck in the bed of the truck. We have to scrape out, and it just you can't really do that much work with a dump truck in wet weather. And I have a lot of stuff I have to catch up on. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last couple of days, I've just been resting. One day I went to bed early, got up early. If you watch TikTok, I did a TikTok on me waking up extremely early to come upload. So I'm real rested right now, but I have a lot of things I have to catch up on, and I'm doing that. I'm studying for youth. I have to minister tonight, and at the time of this recording. But anyway, this is a lot. Might be something breaking news, and I might have to get to it in the next show or whatever. But anyway, let's go according to this. So I just read a report, this is funny, and this was yesterday, apparently the 13th of December. The View co-host Joe Barr, I don't know how Bear Barr, how you say her name, said Thursday that former President Donald Trump would have been in jail if he had been in office in Peru or Germany, two countries that have recently faced government crisis. And this is her quote that she said. I was reading this weekend about other countries. Joy replied. In Peru, the president of Peru, this is so interesting to me. He tried to dissolve the government and siege power. They arrested him that day. And in Germany this week, there was a group of people who tried to overthrow the government in Germany. They all been arrested. One of them was from the noble family before the war, the big one, when he was in power, and he was notably, and he was of the aristocrats, and he's selling real estate. So he's very annoyed, and he was one of those people trying to overthrow the government in these countries, which are democracies. Trump would have been in jail 3 years ago. To stop. Now she's referenced to the president being arrested and impeached in early December in Peru and all this other stuff. But listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. This what makes America 10 times better than any country in the world. You are innocent until you're proven guilty. You see the joy from The View? Donald Trump's already guilty. Donald Trump was in the White House basement. He was teaming up because all this conversation came around Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement last Saturday, which I just read about. She said that if she had organized the Capitol riot, the January 6th would have won. Rioters would have won, and the rioters would have been armed. The representative later said in her remarks was sarcasm in a statement Monday. You still don't say that. I have my problem. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I have my problems with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I do, but her people elected her into to represent them in Congress. But Joy Reid's statement is just as foolish as Marjorie Taylor Greene. Joy's statement saying that if Trump was in Peru or Germany, he would have been arrested. And I agree with her to a certain extent. To certain extents. But this is the thing. We're in America. We're not in Germany. We're not in Peru. You are innocent until proven guilty by a jury of your peers. Well, Isaac, he still could have got a trial. Your investigation, da-da-da-da-da. This is a president of the United States, not your common ordinary person. And ladies and gentlemen, I just talked about the January 6th committee. Whatever they come out with in next week, whatever they come out with and saying how this was Donald Trump's fault, that Donald Trump had a group of people in his basement and they were making plans to overrun the government on January 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no proof of that. There's no proof that Donald Trump had anything to do with January 6th. The only thing he had probably was to say, hey, y'all go and y'all make your voices heard peacefully and patriotically. Ladies and gentlemen, he denounced the violence. Now, people might argue. I understand that. You have your right to opinion, like I have my right to opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, Joy saying this stuff from The View, trying to compare us to other countries. No, we're better than Germany. We're better than Peru. We have a system of government that makes sure that you don't go to jail for no reason. And Joy making this statement, she is, Germany is not, Germany's a democracy. Yeah, Peru's a democracy. But you got to realize something, we're not a true democracy either. We are a republic. How our founding fathers, remember, the republic on which we stand. We're not a true democracy. And Joy needs to get her head examined because she's a couple of fries short of a Happy Meal, in my humble opinion. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk about something that I've never talked about, and I just never really. I thought there was way more important issues at the time. And if you look at my process I look at a story, I'll write a note on the side of it, or I'll save it. And the day of the show, I will go and I will break down everything I have, and I'll say, well, look, I want to do this. And I never ever talked about this, but it is in the news, and I thought it'd be pretty neat. Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX founder, charged with fraud and money laundering. Well, now I'm gonna go ahead and do some recap on this. Like I said, I never brought this up, but FTX was a company here, and it was located in the Bahamas, I believe. But it was here, and their founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, was a big donor to Democrat Party and some Republicans. If I had to mention, I did mention a little bit about it when I talked about Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy was one of the Republicans that benefited from this man donating money, and they called him a bipartisan donor. Now, what that really means is that if he thinks there's a Republican that could help him more on the left side, he will. He'll donate to him, and that's basically what happened with like Bill Cassidy and other ones. Like when they wanted bills passed, they donated. And look, this isn't uncommon. There is a lot of people out there that own big businesses, and these big businesses they will go ahead and donate to political parties or political figures to get favors back. That's how. Is it crooked? Absolutely. It shouldn't happen, but that's how it does. It happens before. But anyway, the company FTX filed bankruptcy on November 11 when the firm ran out of money after the cryptocurrency. This is a cryptocurrency. What is FTX? A cryptocurrency type business. Now, if you notice, if you watch MLB, they have the FTX. I saw it. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I never. The refs wear them. But the cryptocurrency equivalent of a bank ran. So it was like a cryptocurrency bank. And cryptocurrency is Bitcoin and other things like that. They're trying. This is a whole nother subject I could talk about, but they're trying to get us away from paper money to more cryptocurrency, to where there's a paperless money system. And there's a lot of companies coming out with this, and FTX is one of them. But it filed bankruptcy. Customers try to withdraw their assets all at once because of the growing doubts about the financial strength of the company and Alderman research. The criminal indictments against Bankman-Fried and others at FTX is on the top civil charges now Tuesday by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the Common Fortune Trading Commission. The SEC alleged Bankman-Fried defunded investors and illegally used the money to buy real estate on behalf of himself and his family. At one time, he was one of the world's wealthiest people on paper. His net worth reached $26.5 billion, according to Forbes. So why am I bringing this up? Well, this man was hiding in the Bahamas. Out of all places, the Bahamas. And the Bahamas have extradition rights with the United States. So what they did was they went ahead. Let me make sure I'm doing this right, because I'm going to go to the Daily Wire. I have an article when he was arrested. He was arrested on Monday by the authorities in Bahamas because they were notified that the U.S. Department of Justice had filed criminal charges against him and is expected to request extradition. On 12 December 2022, the Office of Attorney General of the Bahamas announced the arrest by Royal Bahamas Police Force of Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, former CEO of FTX. The government of the Bahamas said in a statement, BF's arrests followed receipts of formal notifications from the United States that it has filed criminal charges against BF and is likely to request extradition, which he has been. He has been arrested. Now, ladies and gentlemen, people probably lost all kind of money with this. What this is, however, now what this is saying right here is, because the article basically says Democrat mega donor. And look, there was some Republicans that got this, ladies and gentlemen, but this corruption for this right here, this man to be arrested, and look, he was worth $26 billion. And he went ahead and robbed people of their money. He went ahead and took money from people to live a luxurious lifestyle. He went ahead and he took people's money without them. I'm trying to say it in the right way. I'm trying to how can I say this? He embezzled. He went ahead and he did things that were wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what gets me about all this right here. He's arrested. He's facing federal. They went ahead and put federal charges against him. BF is accused of defrauding customers and investors to fund a luxurious lifestyle. All officials says federal prosecutors said beginning in 2019 he diverted their money to cover expenses, debt, and risky trades at his crypto hedge fund, Alderman Research, in addition to making luxurious purchases and illegal campaign contributors without telling his customers, according to the 13-page indictment. So what he did, let's just to get his influence out there, he went ahead and gave to campaign contributions. And he went ahead and he started spending money on risky trade deals without telling his investors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you might be asking, well, Isaac, why is this a big story? I think the whole big story, yeah, it is a market thing. It is a big-time guy that's wealthy and whatnot. But, ladies and gentlemen, the big story that I get away from this is people that the Democrat Party have cocktails with. And politicians, look, let's not even say Democrat. Let me just not throw that into, oh, this was all Democrat, the Democrat Party, because like that's one thing I do not like with the Daily Wire, how they put that in their article, saying Democrat mega donor Sam Bankman-Fried, arrested in the Bahamas, faces criminal charges. They put Democrat mega donor, but that's not necessarily true. He went ahead and also gave money to certain Republicans. Now, majority of these Republicans were more left-leaning, or they're moderates. Like I said, I use, for example, Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy, I believe, is one of the Republicans that took his money, his campaign contribution. I could be wrong with that. Please, if I am, let me know. I will correct myself on this microphone. But ladies and gentlemen, this just shows that, look, this man was corrupted. This man went into this company apparently planning on doing this, because he started from 2019. The company was created in 2019 in the Bahamas. This dude lived in the Bahamas. This dude started his country in one of the most wealthiest places on earth, or where one of the most richest people go. He started it. And ladies and gentlemen, he embezzled money. He went ahead and he fraud people out of all kind of money. And you think about it, okay, these are the people that Democrat and some Republican politicians want to rub shoulders with. Yes, it's for their money, but at the same time, it doesn't look good. This is why if you look at a lot of these, when you have some of these congressional hearings on this, a lot of people don't want to go ahead and talk about it. A lot of the Democrats and even some Republicans are like, hey, let's not worry about this. Hey, let's go to another issue. And you notice this story is being swept under the rug. Like I said, I didn't talk about it because I didn't know until today. I didn't really know what was going on with this. But ladies and gentlemen, this is people that a lot of politicians, like I said, just not Republican, just not Democrat, that all politicians, a lot of politicians rubbed shoulders with this man. And he was blatantly committing fraud. And he was taking investors' money and living a luxurious lifestyle. Now, we don't know, like I said, I'm going to say what I said in the last segment. Innocent until proven guilty. This man has been charged with this. They believe there's enough evidence to arrest him. We're going to have to see what happens. But this man right here blatantly committed crimes. And he was trying to buy influences with that money with the Democrats and some Republicans. And look, why not? Look, you think about it like this, like Bill Cassidy and other Republicans that have taken money from this man mostly vote for the vote. They vote a lot with the Republicans, but a lot of key issues, they will vote for what the left wants. And we've seen this with respect for Marriage Act, ladies and gentlemen. 12 senators voted with that bill. 39 House Republicans voted for it to make it sure that it passed on Tuesday, that it was signed by the president. So if you go ahead and you influence enough people, you can get a lot of votes in. With that being said, just remember, everybody, that, look, there's only one that will never leave you, that will never forsake you. He will never cheat you. He will never harm you, and that is Jesus Christ. And if you accept him as your Lord and Savior, you're going to be blessed beyond measure. Just not materially, but physically as well. And look, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I say I don't trust Republicans. I don't trust Democrats. I trust the only one, Jesus Christ, the Lord of my life. And just remember that he's coming back one day, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has already overcome the world. And if you want to know Jesus, your personal Lord and Savior, reach out to me. I'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one. See you next time.